The Inflation Reduction Act unlocked billions in construction spending, but it also brought prevailing wage and registered apprenticeship requirements that are tripping up a lot of non-union contractors. My guest today is Andy Seth, founder of Apprentix. Andy helps contractors navigate apprenticeship compliance without blowing up schedules or margins. We break down where contractors are losing money, the apprenticeship rule that's killing profits, and how to get compliant fast, even retroactively. If you're bidding IRA-funded work, this episode is for you. This is Eric Anderton, and you're listening to Construction Genius, a leadership masterclass. Thomas Edison said that genius is 1% inspiration and 99% perspiration. If you're a construction leader, you know all about the perspiration, and this show is all about the 1% inspiration that you can add to your hard work to help you to improve your leadership. Andy, welcome to Construction Genius.
Thanks, Eric. Nice to be here.
Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah, sure. So my name is Andy Seth. I'm the founder of Apprentix. Apprentix was a project that I started when COVID happened. I taught myself programming like any good Indian. And I did it because I was running apprenticeship programs in my own companies for over a decade, and it was just so hard. And I thought there's got to be a better way. So I built a technology platform, and then over the years, we've added a lot of services to that.
That's great. And it's really driven a lot by the Inflation Reduction Act. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. The Inflation Reduction Act is interesting in that it's the first law, and it's a federal law, that requires the use of apprentices. So you've had Davis-Bacon before where you've got to pay prevailing wages. Well, they added this requirement that says, and 15% of the total project labor hours have to be done through registered apprentices. And this is something that's scaring a lot of folks out of even bidding on this work. And hopefully I can help enlighten and share what makes it a lot easier to be able to bid on those projects and to work on them without feeling overwhelmed about those apprenticeship requirements.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What options do contractors have to meet these requirements? And what kind of resources does it take for them to manage these requirements?
So there's really three options you have to meet apprenticeship requirements. Option number one is you can use unionized labor. And if you're using unionized labor, they've already got really the setup for the apprentices. Now, that depends on the data, but 85 to 90% of all contractors in the United States are non-unionized. So if you're not using unionized labor, you've got one of two other options. One option, which is what the government's going to push, is they're going to say, go to the state and set up your own registered apprenticeship program. That takes 6 to 12 months. And the reason they push this is because they get their funding from the feds based on the total number of employers that they create apprenticeship programs for. So just understand where the incentives are for driving that. But now you're doing this alone, something that is high risk because you've never had to operate this before, and the penalties are pretty severe. Option number two is you join an existing program. Now here's where it gets a little tricky. Historically, if you joined a program, it was a localized apprenticeship program that served just contractors local to the area. Well, now we have projects where crews are traveling from location to location, state to state even. And so the option is to find a program that will let you do that. Legally, you can, no matter where you are in the United States, join a program that's anywhere in the United States. And then you can work anywhere in the United States, but there are laws that program sponsor would have to be willing to maneuver you through in order to get you to be able to work in those projects. But rather than re-registering in every single state, 6 to 12 months, you can use reciprocity to get there in 1 to 30 days. So if you bid on a project, win it, in 30 days or less, you could be on that project site with registered apprentices.
Okay. So the Inflation Reduction Act is a federal act, correct?
Correct.
But then the apprenticeship aspect of it, is that executed through the states and the different licenses?
Yeah, that's right. So the Inflation Reduction Act is a federal bill.
Right.
But apprenticeship is called the National Apprenticeship System, but it does not functionally work as a national system. It's actually a confederate of state laws that have a federal backing and an infrastructure, but every state can have their own conditions for allowing you into that state with registered apprentices or not. And so you actually have to look at it like both a federal and a state system, sort of like taxes. We pay federal taxes and we pay state taxes. You've got laws in both that are required that you have to be able to maneuver. And a good sponsor knows those laws, has worked those laws, and can help you maneuver through those.
Okay. So this is kind of like the cost of doing business, the administrative burden of doing business. Some of the biggest concerns with running an apprenticeship program are the setup costs, timeline, administrative burden, compliance risk, cost of training, and the delays to production to send the crews out for training. So how can contractors overcome these concerns?
So it really starts with the sponsor selection, because that sponsor is going to have solutions to each one of those problems you just listed. The sponsor has the ability, and I'm not saying they all do this, but they have the ability to negotiate terms with the Department of Labor. Most sponsors just inherit the terms. They go in and they say, okay, well, government, you're giving us funding. You tell us what you need us to uphold in terms of standards, and we'll go do it. For example, with Apprentix, we have no government funding. I have no grants. I have no strings attached to the work we do. We're 100% customer funded. Therefore, we negotiate hard with the Department of Labor. So the sponsor really sets up the success of this and the total burden.
So give me an example of how this works in that sponsorship piece.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's say, for example, that your sponsor says, okay, we need you to track classroom hours and on-the-job training hours. Pretty basic stuff in an apprenticeship. Oh, and wage progressions because you're on a prevailing wage job. Well, if they don't have technology and they're having you track manually, you already know what that's going to be like, that you're going to have major issues from an audit standpoint. Right. And then if they promise you this tech, but they're building this tech, you can see the difference between a tech forward company that knows and has built the tech versus one that's got no tech or is very lightweight. You know the administrative issues you're going to now deal with. But if the tech works real seamlessly, now you can track so easily, and you'll know when the wage progressions have to hit, what levels your apprentices are at, how much progression they're making. All of that can be so easily done. And then automations with the Department of Labor. Do they have any automations built? If you have to register an apprentice, how long does it take? It should take 1 day. You should be able to get a Davis-Bacon cert the very next day. How long does it take? Well, if you're waiting for humans to do it, there's no automations. It's going to take, sometimes I've heard it takes weeks. So this is where your sponsors really got the solutions or not.
Okay. So walk me through one specific apprenticeship rule that's the biggest profit killer right now for contractors, and how exactly to solve that.
So one of the rules that the National Apprenticeship System has that's killing profits for these contractors is that they're requiring them to register in every state where they have operations, where they have projects. This is a massive killer because you don't have the time it takes to get registered. It's a 6 to 12 month process. And by the way, the Department of Labor now has the Department of Education that's been folded into it. They've got fewer staff. That timeline is even longer. You don't have that time. So what do you do instead? Well, you incur fines. And the fines are $50 per non-compliant hour if you're working on an IRA project, up to $500 per non-compliant hour. So you can see it's a non-starter for a lot of people if they don't get set up right. And if they go to the government, which is really, if you Google how to start an apprenticeship program, either my book is going to come up or a government site is going to come up. And if you go to the government and you say, hey, I guess I got to start one, they're going to use all the government resources that they want you to use. They're going to push you to all the things that everyone's funded by. 12 months later, you've built a Ferrari that moves like a bus. So that's a massive profit killer. You want to have the minimum viable product when you're starting an apprenticeship program. You don't need the big Ferrari out the gates.
Okay, so then each company can start their own apprenticeship program independently. They don't need to go out to an outside source to certify it. Is that correct?
Well, each company can start their own apprenticeship program and be a sponsor, which is what the government wants you to do. The better approach is to start your own program under someone else's sponsorship, because that means they've got all the legal work done, but now you've got a program. So instead of 6 to 12 months, it's same day.
I see. Okay. Okay, so the idea that the sponsor is the entity that interacts with the government and makes sure all the compliance is in place and all that kind of stuff.
That's right. The apprenticeship sponsor is not just a fancy word. It is a word that means we have negotiated all the terms and conditions with the Department of Labor, and we've built all the solutions that you need to make this as easy as possible. That sponsor word is key word because whoever the sponsor is that you choose is going to provide you with the framework you need to operate your apprenticeship program.
Okay. All right.
All right, quick break to talk about my book, Construction Genius. This is what I want you to do. Go to Amazon, search for the book, read all of the 5-star reviews, because there's a ton of them. Over 50 to be precise. And the reason I want you to read them is because real people wrote those reviews who've actually read the book. And it'll give you an idea of why you should go and buy a copy right now on Amazon. And here's the deal. If you purchase 10 or more copies for your company, and then send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, I'll come in via Zoom and do a 1-hour Q&A and a bonus training session with your team at no charge. I normally charge $4,500 for an hour of my time. And again, for you, I'll do it at no charge if you buy 10 or more copies of my book. And the reason you should buy it is all in the title. It's effective, hands-on, practical, simple, no BS, leadership, strategy, sales, and marketing advice for construction companies. So if you're in the construction industry, this book is for you. So you can get it on Amazon. You can also get it on Audible in the audio version as well, narrated by yours truly. And I know you'll really enjoy it. So go out and get the book. And now back to the interview.
So then if I engage a sponsor and I want to get up and running, and let's say I'm bidding on a project and I need to get my ducks in a row here pretty quickly, is there a way to get credit for the work, so to speak, I'm already doing with my guys in terms of an apprenticeship?
Yeah, this happens actually all the time where contractors are on a project and they weren't even told about the apprenticeship requirements because maybe the project owner didn't know that they were trying to get those tax credits from the Inflation Reduction Act, and then later came and said, hey, by the way, we need you to meet these requirements. This happens literally all the time. One of the terms I've negotiated with the Department of Labor that's unique is we can give you backdated credit up to 45 days as long as you've met what's called ratio requirements. So if you had a craft laborer apprentice, and they were working under a craft laborer journeyman, or maybe they were even working under a pipe fitter or an iron worker, we can give credit for up to 45 days. That way, if you've already been on the job site, you can meet the requirements backwards looking rather than having to only be forward looking.
Okay. So what's the most costly mistake you've seen contractors make related to registered apprenticeships, and how can they avoid that?
One of the most costly mistakes, and there are many, is that when you have a registered apprentice, you are legally allowed to discount what you pay them compared to a journeyman. So let's say you're working on a prevailing wage job, like the Inflation Reduction Act. There's a journeyman rate, and then you can discount off of that. Let's say we're taking a craft laborer. You can pay them 72% of the journeyman rate, which is the prevailing wage, for the first 1,000 hours. And then you'd have to bump them to 79%, and then to 86%, and then to 93%. Well, here's where people lose margin. What if you're paying the apprentice the journeyman rate? Do you still have to do the wage increase? The contractors are being told that they have to do wage increases when someone's an apprentice, and that is not true. The wage increase is only required if as a minimum wage. If you're not paying the minimum wage, then yes, you have to bump them up. But if you're already paying more, you don't have to also increase their wages. So if they go from level 1 to 2, but you've been paying journeyman rate, you don't have to bump them. And contractors get told that they're supposed to increase. So they lose 7% 4 times in different tiers every time they bump, when really they never had to bump at all.
Okay, so what you're saying then is that it seems like there's a bunch of different pitfalls and situations that can come up where people can either not comply with the apprenticeship rules, or in trying to comply with them, over comply. Is that right?
Yes. What's happened is because these rules got complex, you've seen an emergence of IRA compliance firms coming into the marketplace, establishing their own interpretations of the laws and basically trying to de-risk their clients. What that means is the client is the ultimate project owner or investor. They want these tax credits. The Inflation Reduction Act says you get 30% of your costs as tax credits if you meet prevailing wage and apprenticeship requirements.
Yeah.
They hire these auditing firms. The auditing firms are supposed to make sure that they can go get those tax credits because they're selling those tax credits on a marketplace. So they have to securitize it. Well, those auditing firms are way conservative and they overextend into the Department of Labor. The tax credits are governed by the Treasury Department, the IRS, but the registered apprenticeships are governed by the Department of Labor, and they try to overextend. So unless you have somebody that knows the Department of Labor side well enough that they can say, I'm pushing right back up against this, we don't have to do that. Your interpretation is wrong. What happens? Contractors start losing money because they're being pushed to do something that they themselves wouldn't know how to push back against. And if they were to consult anyone in the government says, we don't know. We're Department of Labor. That's the Treasury. We can't advise on it.
What kind of guarantees does your company give, if any, in terms of the advice that you're giving and the sort of direction that you lead your clients in?
In terms of guarantees, there's a number of things that they can fall into traps with that it would be fines, right? So what our platform is doing is it's actually proactively notifying them before anything occurs so that they don't incur the actual fine. We're not a gotcha company. We're not a, hey, you've done this wrong and now you've got a problem.
Right.
Everything is being told up front beforehand so they can fix whatever it is. And then because we're the ones that have to go maneuver them through the legal system, that's on us. We're the ones that have to make sure that they get reciprocity. We're the ones that have to issue the letters that say you've got confirmation of this registration here and you're able to work here. So that's all on us to handle for them.
Okay. So you provide both the sponsorship and a tech platform to go along with that? Or can you just get the tech platform without the sponsorship if you've got that taken care of?
Yes. Companies can get the tech platform alone if they wanted. Let's say they've already been in the apprenticeship game and they've got a compliance department, but they need what our system has built because it's otherwise being manually done. They can buy our tech platform. But for those that are saying, hey, look, we don't want to stand up a compliance department. We don't want to have to actually figure this all out. We just want it done. Can you just take care of it? We provide both the tech platform and the sponsor services.
How long is the Inflation Reduction Act? Is that a permanent act? Is that going to sunset after a period of time?
The Inflation Reduction Act was enacted in 2023, so it's a fairly new bill. And then the Big Beautiful Bill made some changes to it. So there are different types of tax credits that used to be pushed out to 2032 and they would sunset. Most common, solar was the big one, which is driving data center power. Solar got reduced down to 2027 now, and there's specific law like caveats within that. But let's just say from 2032 it went down to 2027. But battery storage still is extended to 2032. So a lot of these data centers that are driving the solar farms need to create their own battery storage to power their data centers, or recategorizing their projects to be battery storage so that they can get the credits to 2032 while they're still building solar. So you know how this goes, man.
It's a big game.
Yeah. It's a game, and the question is, who's the master?
Yeah. How do you keep up on all of this?
Man, I actually love it. I keep up because when I see the opportunity for contractors to build generational wealth, this is exciting because all I have to do is make it easy for them to go get it. When contractors come and say, man, like you saved us hundreds of thousands in just trying to get prepared to bid on these projects. That's super cool to me. When a contractor calls and says, hey man, we've got this project that we're bidding on. They're telling us XYZ. Can you hop on the phone with them? I love those phone calls. Or I love when they come and say, hey, this person said that we can't do this. That's going to cost us XYZ. Can you figure out a solution? Well, I know how to work the Department of Labor. Boom, here's a solution for it. I can issue a letter that does XYZ. I'm excited by this. I see this as an amazing way for America to be able to build the infrastructure we need, for contractors to generate wealth, and for people to build skills that we need in our country. So for me, this is a very fulfilling mission.
That's great. That's great.
Think about the last time you promoted someone into a leadership role and it failed. Why did it fail? I can tell you one reason. People know how to build projects, but they don't know how to build and lead teams of people. Construction comes with its challenges that only insiders truly understand. Generic leadership training doesn't cut it. You need a program to train your leaders built specifically for construction professionals led by an industry expert. And my online course, The Shift, is exactly that course. It has 5 modules. It'll teach your people how to control their calendars and reduce stress and embrace chaos and accomplish their critical tasks. It will teach them the 3 essential messages they have to communicate every day in order to motivate and lead their team effectively. It'll show them how to build and lead a high-performing team, give them a framework for running effective meetings so they'll be able to solve problems in less than an hour, and also give them a higher perspective on their leadership that will enable them to work on the business and on their teams and not get stuck in the weeds micromanaging. So go out to my website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, read all about the course, and then enroll yourself and your leaders in the course, and I guarantee that it will transform your leadership. If it does not, you take the whole course and you didn't get benefit from it, you just send me an email, eric@constructiongenius.com, and I will cheerfully refund you 100% of your money. I'm really confident this course will transform your leadership. So again, go out to the website, theshift.constructiongenius.com, learn more about the course, and start taking it today.
So who would you say is your ideal client? Like, who should be definitely reaching out to you and saying, Andy, help me out?
Our ideal client are construction contractors of all types who are working or bidding on projects that have these prevailing wage and apprenticeship requirements.
Yep.
Now, labor providers are also an ideal client because a labor provider takes the payroll of record responsibility, in which case they themselves also have to have an apprenticeship program.
Yep. Excellent. So tell us a little bit more about how people can get in touch with you and what's the process for working with you and getting up and running, both from the sponsorship and the tech platform perspective.
So if you are interested in seeing how Apprentix might be able to help you, there's 2 ways you can engage us, really. One is on the tech platform alone side, or second one is tech platform plus our services for sponsorship. Either way, the conversation is directly with me. So you can go to the website, hit our contact form if you want, or I can give you the information here. It's Andy@Apprentix.io. My phone number is 303-900-2215. It's coming directly to me. I handle every single conversation because I want to make sure that every single person, every single contractor is set up for success. Once we figure out what you're going to need, I can take you through it. We can get contractors up, running with registered apprentices on the ground in 3 business days, plus 45 days back, counting any hours that have been worked. So this is not a long, arduous process. And we also make sure that we can give you credit for the classroom hours of training that you're doing on the job site. We're not going to require you to send people out to some third party where you're stopping production schedules. One of the big things that people worry about, I can't stop the schedule. You won't have to with us. We've got a whole different way that we do classroom scheduling, and it's giving you credit for the classroom hours that you're already providing to your apprentices. And if there's supplemental needs, we have that too. But this is a way that you don't have to stop production. So just talk to me. I'll figure out what kinds of projects you're bidding on or working on. And there's a way that we're going to be able to help you with it.
That's awesome. And give us your website link again, the website address.
Our website address is Apprentix, Apprentix.io.
Okay, cool. We will have all the links in the show notes. And Andy, I know you're out in Denver, so real quick question. People fly into Denver all the time for various things. What's your favorite restaurant in downtown Denver?
Oh, favorite restaurant in downtown Denver? Downtown, I wouldn't even go to downtown. So first of all, I know we've had a massive investment in there. It's not ready yet.
Too many homeless people?
Yes, honestly. I think one of my favorite restaurants, oh boy, where would I recommend? I would go to Cherry Creek. In Cherry Creek, there's a place called Alteño, and I believe it's a Michelin star. It's on its way there, but Alteño in Cherry Creek is a phenomenal place. And I will tell you, by the way, if you fly into Denver Airport, their entire apprenticeship program for all of Denver Airport is running on our platform.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Cool. Congratulations. That's quite a project they're building out there, huh?
Yes, it is. Yes,
awesome.
It is.
Awesome. All right, Andy. Well, I appreciate you joining us here today. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you.
Right on. Thank you for listening to Construction Genius. All links in the show notes. You can check out the Apprentix website. Give Andy a call if you're interested in the work that he's doing and need some help. And even check out the link to the Alteño restaurant there in Denver area of Colorado. Feel free to share this episode with other folks who you think would benefit from listening to this conversation, and give us a rating and review wherever you get your podcasts. We'll catch you on the next one. Thank you for listening to this episode of Construction Genius. Hope you found that 1% of inspiration to help you in the next few days. If you like the show, please give us a 5-star review on iTunes, share it with other construction leaders who you think would benefit, and always remember that the show is brought to you by Kick-Ass Meetings. I've been working with construction leaders since 2004, teaching them how to run extremely effective problem-solving meetings that gets their people collaborating, taps into their creativity. And to get yourself a free copy of the Kick-Ass Meeting Report, go to www.ericanderton.com/kickassmeetings. Grab yourself that free report, read it, use it in your business. You'll find it extremely useful. And thanks again for listening.